crossed. Yeah, officially live. All right. Okay, guys, so welcome to your Songwriting 101. Got my trusty cup of tea to keep me hydrated today. So today, we're going to look at the song Human Nature, which was made famous by Michael Jackson, but actually not written by him at all. It was written by Steve Porcaro and then arranged by the other members of Toto. Fun fact, they are in my top 5 favorite artists. So that's why I had to mention it. It had to be done. But the cool thing about this song is that it's actually in F Lydian, right? And so if you're wondering what on earth Lydian is probably my favorite mode. It's between Lydian and Dorian for me, of the favorites. But a mode is like, it's just a different scale, basically. It's not massively difficult to comprehend. In your major scale, right, if we go for our F major scale, you've got F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. Right, that's the notes in our F major scale. Now, the difference between the F Lydian scale and the F major scale is actually only in one note. What we do in the Lydian scale is we sharpen the fourth, right? So in our F major scale, if we're sharpening that fourth upwards, it means that instead of a B flat, we're going to play a B natural, right? So we get F, G, A. Now we're number 4, so we're going to raise it to B natural. Right, funny sound. And then the rest is normal. C, D, E, and F. So if I play that scale again, you guys will get a good sense of how that actually sounds. Now, we like it in F Lydian, especially as piano players, because F Lydian means that it's all white notes. So there's no accidentals in there, all white notes. It's a lot easier to play with. And so the tricky thing about doing things in F Lydian is that because they're only white notes, there are other key signatures that just have white notes. C major is one. It's the first thing you learn. In most instruments actually, but definitely on the piano, C major, and then A minor as well. No accidentals in that; it's all just white notes. So it's tricky when you're writing in F Lydian because the listener or other musicians might hear that and think, "Oh, is that in C major?" So that's the tricky thing about it. It's hard to tonicize, is the fancy word for that. But it's hard to really make sure that your ear knows that we're in F and not C. And so the way to do that is to use a lot of stable tones. So Human Nature does this really well. And hey, Az, thanks for tuning in. He says, he's happy to hear my voice again. So am I. I'm happy to hear my voice again. Okay, so back to Human Nature. They do this really well, especially in the verses, right? Because in the verses, lines 1, 2, and 3 just alternate between F and G. There we go. Oh, went on a second, but I think I'm back. So we've got F and G. That's all we're working with for lines 1, 2, and 3 of our verses. It's literally. So that sounds pretty firmly in F, right? Because we're always coming back to F at the beginning of our phrases, and that those G sort of kind of little walk downs that they do. They walk down from the notes in G to include that C. So that C there, it's present in the F major chord. Hear that? So that's how they get this sense that F is where we're coming home to. F is our tonic key. Okay, and then in the next line, or the last line of the verse, you get this nice little thing. You've got F, then you have E minor 7, which is basically just a G but with an E chucked on the bottom. And then you have a D minor 7, and then you go back to G. So we get this feeling of lifting, but not a lot, just a little bit. That's what I like about this song, is that there is no real effort to separate the chorus from the verse, right? They haven't really done that. The goal was to keep it even throughout, and that you couldn't do that in today's music landscape, because everything is about keeping the listener interested, right? So in today's production, there's a new element in every chorus trying to keep people's attention span, because people's attention spans are a lot less now than they were back in the 70s and 80s. So that's what we the benefits of having music from that time is we were able to have this calm feeling throughout, this evenness, this flow that we don't normally have in today's music. Okay, so if we look at the chorus, then we have the F, G, and then we go to C for this lovely little walk down part, which goes like this. Right? It's really nice. And it's that descending melody, which is really cool. It's what's called a conjunct melody. And a conjunct melody means that all the notes are next door to each other, right? So we have all steps right next to each other. And so conjunct melodies can be super catchy. And that's probably the bit that sticks in your head, isn't it, of this track, is that nice conjunct melody. Cool. And then we go back to this little thing that we have here for the second line of the chorus, which is F, E minor, D minor 7, and then we go to an A minor randomly. That's really because the A minor's got that C and the A in it. So those two notes are found in F, and it means that if we end on this chord, we've got stable tones, but we get back to this F here. And it feels homely. That's how they've made sure that we know that we're an F and not any other key. We're definitely an F, okay? And so the reason that we say this is F Lydian is because there's so many G's in this song. It's crazy, right? But the G, middle note of G, you've got G, B, and D, right? So the middle note of G is B, and that's our Lydian note. That's our sharpened 4. If you remember our Lydian scale in F goes F, G, A, B. Our sharp 4 is B here. So to include that in a G major chord, that's what makes this Lydian. So that's this song in a nutshell, really. It's a really nice track. But if we look back to our chorus, we got F, G, then we have this lovely little rundown. And so that little rundown there is over a C major chord. So again, we've got the stable tones, but we come all the way down using that conjunct melody. And you'll notice that B, our Lydian note, is right in the center of that melody there. If I play it again, but a little bit slower, here's the B, B, right? So what happens in this melody is we come down and then we go back up and then we come down, right? So what they've done there is really accentuated the B natural, which is our Lydian note. They've accentuated that by going, reaching it, going back down, going back up, sorry, and then so they can come down and play it again. That's what they've done there, and that's really clever because that's a way for us as the listener to hear yet more little things that just tell us that we're in the F-ian rather than in C major or A minor. So the whole chorus then, if I try and play the whole thing, I just learned it this morning, so we'll have a look and see if I can manage it. But hopefully you'll be able to pick out the Lydian note and the stable tones in the other chords that make us feel like we're fully an F. So let's try it. And then we go again. And that's it, really. There's not too much else melodically that happens. It's pretty similar. We have verses, we have choruses, we have a little bridge part, but the bridge is the same as the intro, which is the same as this line, the F, E minor 7, D minor 7, G that we have in our verse there. So it's all quite a lot of the same stuff. The key to this song is in the arrangement. But we've run out of time to talk about that today, so we're going to talk about the arrangement and the mix more later on this week. Next session is Wednesday at 1 o'clock GMT for the pots and pans and 1:15 for Songwriting 101. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Unless Chris has anything to say, I think we'll leave it there for today, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. So always the awkward silence, isn't it, while I'm waiting for him? There you go. All right.
All good.
Cool. All right then, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Ciao for now. Because what it is YouTube. YouTube, I think, is like a whole 10 seconds ahead of YouTube. So I'm like running from the other room and I hear it on YouTube. That's why.
That makes sense. All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
YouTube is behind like a whole 10 seconds ahead of YouTube. So I'm like running.